Lynnette Michaluk is a social scientist in the Center for Excellence in STEM Education at West Virginia University. Lynette, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's good to be here.
We were talking about the importance of communicating science and the work that we're doing around STEM education. I wonder if we could start this conversation just by talking about why we need more people to pursue STEM degrees and professions.
Sure. Ultimately, workforce development, we can't have a highly qualified STEM workforce if we don't prepare them well at the K-12 and beyond levels. And so right now we are just simply not producing enough STEM graduates to fill all the jobs.
So what kinds of STEM workforce gaps and in what industries are we focusing on right now, or does your work focus on right now?
Currently I have so many projects going on. I work in over 20 different things and over 20 different STEM education, very specific fields. I'm working in hybrid additive manufacturing. We need more people at all levels in that. I'm working in sustainability, to evaluate projects with people who are working to do, oh my gosh, all kinds of things from recycling wastewater. So there's just so many projects, and students don't know about these things. They don't go into them because they're not even aware that they are job possibilities. And what's great for a lot of these students is they want to stay close to their home, and these positions are available in their home state. They can, do work around people that they want to be with in the place that they call home.
Yeah. Well, so how do we get more people to pursue STEM degrees and professions? You were talking before we started recording about work that you've done with code.org. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, the thinking behind what code.org does, what they do is they provide free training to teachers. They provide free curriculum for implementation in schools at the K-12 level. And they've worked with professionals in Computer Science Teachers Association and other associations to develop a standardized curriculum and create standards, and to train teachers in high quality instruction. And the reason that they do all this is because students don't go into STEM careers if they don't have experiences with them earlier in their lives. By the time that a student is in middle school, for most of them, their career goals are already kind of set, and they're not going to veer greatly from that. And for those that do and discover things later on, they will be playing catch up if they decide to go to college. By the time a kid is in high school, if they've already ruled out STEM, it will be hard for them to catch up later on, for example, because they won't be taking, or they haven't been offered, advanced placement courses in math or sciences or computer science. And computer science, as far as code.org goes, is so important because there are very, very few professions that you can even go into anymore that don't make you use computer science. And so code.org meets students where they are, and it trains teachers to be lead learners, which is what we need. Computer science moves really quickly, and people get scared of that, and they also might not see themselves working in that. But the beauty part of computer science, for instance, is that you can get jobs right out of high school with computer science. You can go on to get a vocational degree or a bachelor's degree. You can work in data science, data analyses. You can get any degree that you want, and you can be very employable. But if you don't have that computer science skill set, that severely limits what you can do later. But that being said, one of the issues is that students can't have experiences if they're not aware of these careers. And so one of the things that code.org does is provide career training information for counselors as well. And so one of the things that we did was we brought training to teachers and counselors, and we worked with them Like we were not really conducting research on them. We worked with them to discover what worked best for them in their schools. And this has been so beneficial. In the past few years, our code.org training partnership with Raleigh County, West Virginia District has trained over 4,000 students in computer science. It's trained over 20 teachers, highly qualified teachers who now go on and train other teachers in the states. It's provided training to counselors, but the counselors and the teachers, importantly, provide us with training as well, because it's not okay to come in and just say, hey, do this, because we don't know what works. They do. And so it's kind of a partnership, and it's worked out really well for us. To be fair, they have a district of IT there, and she is the CSTA district representative. And so she's fabulous. And without her, wow, their district, she is just amazing. She does so much, and she has such a unusual skill set, and we really take advantage of her, to be perfectly honest. But it's been an amazing experience to bring this to students and to expose them to things and find that, hey, they're considering a computer science career, or hey, they might want to work with AI, or oh my gosh, you might want to be, a game developer. You might want to, so many of them are interested in computer science careers now. Like we've been doing pre and post testing, and we find that taking the class makes them more aware of and interested in STEM and computer science careers, which is fantastic. That's just what we want, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, so I'm curious what you've talked about, some of the strategies and how to build these programs. What do you think about the role of informal STEM education?
Well, it can fill the same role. In other words, exposing students to things early on in their school careers, particularly for our students who often believe that they should be good at something before they go to school. You'll often hear students say, "I'm not good at math," or "I'm not good at science." You're like, what we're trying to do is help students see that you're not just born being good at stuff. You can learn to do things if you have experience and you have practice. You know, I'm a prime example. I kind of ignored everything STEM when I was in high school because I didn't think I was good at it. And then I went and I got a bachelor's degree in psychology. And wow, not only can I do math, but if I actually devote some time to it, I'm pretty good at it. And I ended up teaching statistics and research methodology. And so I want to help students see that they can broaden their paths rather than narrow them down, which is what so many of us did. Providing any experience, as long as it's high quality, and it can be informal science, it could be robotics club after school, all the fun things, drones. NASA, for instance, offers many STEM education programs informally, etc. So the goal is to get students high quality experiences, whether in school or out of school, and earlier the better, because you will there like learning is never wasted, right? You almost always use these skills. If there's one thing I've learned over the years on my weird career path, it's that you will always end up using these skills in different ways, and it's really super helpful. And while you're sitting there going, oh my god, why am I wasting my time on this? And then you find out later on, oh, I needed to know that, right? And it ends up being super useful. So getting exposure, getting people to see themselves in science, getting them to see that anyone can learn to do something, even if they struggle with it at first. The key is just to keep going. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so I'm also curious what you think about the role of industry and maybe also the community in helping to recruit and train STEM professionals.
I'm so glad you asked that, because it's so important. I think we don't really recognize. Academia and schools have always partnered with industry. We want to, we want to provide students with examples, but we also want to make sure that the skill set that they come out of school matches what is needed in industry. That's really hard in some tech type of industries where the skills go, crazy, but the change is really rapid. And so just preparing people, to be lifelong learners is super important. And so I feel like industry is important because it provides guidance on what skill set is currently needed and valued. But the community is also important in that if the community is not buying into the industry, or if the community is not really aware of opportunities, they are not going to stand behind them. And in West Virginia, students really are involved with their communities, and they love their state. And so for industry, community, and schools to partner is a natural win for us.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to share insights and wisdom and sharing your work. And I hope we can continue the conversation down the road. Thank you so much, Lynnette.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.